Hey, welcome to 100 Mile Drive. In this video, I want to discuss how does Toyota Crown Signia stack up against its bigger brother Lexus RX 350 in terms of interior quality. Like, what are the areas it matches the Lexus and what are the areas it falls behind? I'm going to do a quick exterior walk around, then compare their interior quality, and at the end of the video, do a quick demo drive of both of these vehicles to see how do they feel to drive one against the other. And now let's do a quick exterior walk around of both of these vehicles, and we'll start with the Toyota Crown Signia. Now, anyone choosing between both of these vehicles, right, you can, let's say, consider RX 350h, which is a hybrid, and then Crown Signia comes standard with the hybrid powertrain. And why would you pick one versus the other, right? So let's say Toyota Crown Signia obviously has a smaller price tag, but it has really good interior quality and exterior quality as well. I'm gonna link those videos by Car Care Not Guy, who pretty much breaks down the Crown Signia and how it stacks up against the Lexus, that it shares more parts with Lexus than Toyota. Now, as far as the looks of this car, it's a very polarizing look. Some people absolutely love it, some find it elegant, like myself, and some even hate it, like I have those comments on my channel. I already made 3 videos about this. This is our car. It has like close to 2,000 miles. We had it for almost 2 months now, and we really love it. We really like it. It's very comfortable and spacious. And it's kind of unique. It's a station wagon, right? Well, I'm not supposed to say that in the United States. I'm supposed to say it's a crossover. But in Japan, this is called Crown Estate, not Signia, and it is a station wagon if you translate that. Now, this is a limited trim, comes with these bigger wheels. I highly recommend limited trim because I think it just kind of adds all the little touches to this vehicle in terms of the wheels and all the stuff that it comes with, like JBL. And then, you know, the 360 camera and all the good stuff. Now, as you can see, I bought it in Toyota of Tustin, and it looks, like I said, pretty elegant front and rear and super unique. Kind of reminds me of Volvo in a way. So some people will literally buy this car just because of how it looks, right? Now let's look at the Lexus, which is a bit more traditional. Now, as I said, Lexus RX 350 is a bit more traditional vehicle, but it also very elegant, and I think this car will cater to more people, right? And there are a lot of trims to pick from. This is a base RX 350, there's RX 350h, RX 450h, plug-in hybrid, and RX 500h F Sport. All of these you can find on my channel. In fact, I'm gonna link a video where I compare all of them and discuss their suspension and ride comfort and which one is the best in terms of the ride quality. I'm gonna touch up on this in my video today as well. But overall, I think the front fascia looks absolutely great. I really like how this vehicle looks. In fact, we were considering this vehicle as well before we pulled the trigger on the Crown Signia. Now, these are 19-inch base wheels. And by the way, this is my dad's car and he absolutely loves it. And on the 20s, it does look nicer, more elegant, but it doesn't look as comfortable as this one. Essentially, comfort is around the same on the bigger wheels, but these will have less noise, like a tire noise, where the 20s, you will hear them a little bit, especially on the highways. Overall, it looks very elegant and sleek. Coming on the rear, I think they've done a phenomenal job designing this vehicle. And in my opinion, of course, I think more people will say that they will prefer Lexus over the Crown Signia just from the looks alone. Now let's do a quick door sound check. Starting with the Crown Signia. This is a traditional handle, right? Now, and these doors, by the way, feel heavier than, let's say, your Toyota Camry. And now let's do a quick door sound check. And this is where I don't like Camrys for this, you know, it's like feels like a thinner metal because there's like a little rattling at the end, like drrr. Like, what is this, man? This is what it sounds like. Pretty solid. Not on par with Europeans, of course, but fairly solid. Now let's look into the Lexus. Now, Lexus RX 350 has something called e-latch system, right? With electronic door handle where you put your hand in, push the button, and it opens. As you can hear, it sounds a bit more solid. Well, actually not a bit, quite a bit. Yeah, it's a very nice sound. Definitely Lexus wins this one. And now let's quickly look at the interior of Toyota Crown Signia, just to kind of give you a quick overview of what it looks like. This is the seats, the leather seats. It comes standard with the leather seats. All right, and first I want to do quality material check on the doors, right? To compare the doors side by side. Let's start with the Crown Signia. So this is a soft plastic material on the Crown Signia. This is also soft material. It feels pretty good overall. Your plastic piece, aluminum grab handle. Then this is again soft touch, some stitching, piano black. Everything feels pretty good. One thing I find though, when you press against these materials, nothing creaks or rattles, but it kind of moves a little bit. I wish this was a little bit more sturdy, right? But overall, it's not bad. It doesn't, like I said, creak or rattle. Soft touch, and this is your hard touch materials, right? This is pretty standard in most vehicles. I liked in Tesla what they did that made this a soft touch as well. But overall, it feels pretty solid. All right, let's look into the Lexus RX 350. All right, and now let's look at the Lexus RX 350 interior. Now, this is what the cabin looks like in the Lexus. This has a smaller screen. All right, and there you go. These are the seats. Oh, wait a second. This has seat covers, right? Well, this car is used by my dad for business. And by the way, guys, if you are in LA area, my parents have a restaurant called Eura Asia where you can try a lot of exclusive dishes, like for example, Uzbek plov, or you can try a lot of fish dishes, or for vegetarians, there's some good dumplings. So yeah, if you're in LA area, check it out. But that's why this car has seat covers. Anyway, we're gonna look at the rear seats to kind of feel and touch the leather on this vehicle as well. So this is what the cabin looks like of the RX, and let's quickly look at the door, right? Now the door has a little bit of kind of more stylish, I would say, design compared to the Crown Signia. Now this is a similar material, by the way, guys. Same as in Crown Signia, it's a soft plastic material. Now this is the material where it feels nicer. This is, by the way, Palomino bamboo color, and it just softer. It just feels nicer than in Crown Signia. In Crown Signia, it's also soft, but it's a little bit like harder kind of material. Now this is a little harder as well, but it just feels like it's a nicer material overall. Now this is also soft. There's a little bit of piano black, but on the actual buttons, not the panel itself. This is a good stitching right here. This is your e-latch system to open the door. Now this is soft. I mean, this is not soft. This is hard plastic as well. Very similar to Crown Signia. So the rest of it looks the same. I would say the difference is this looks a little bit more stylish, and this feels a little softer. But here's the thing, guys. When you press against these materials, see, they also move a little bit. I know the door also moves, but when you press it, you can see how, you know, so again, it feels solid. Again, doesn't creak or rattle, but it's not as sturdy like you see in, let's say, my BMW. All right, now let's actually get on the inside. All right, and we are back in Toyota Crown Signia just to continue discussing the interior quality in this cabin. So again, we discussed the doors, right? This is the material that feels a little bit different, but upper materials feel pretty much the same. Now coming into the main cabin, this is a new leather wrapped steering wheel in Toyota. Now actually, let's go ahead and start the car. Now this is the new digital screen that Toyota has. It's really configurable, and it looks, to me, very, very similar to what Lexus has to offer. All right, so now let's look at other materials. This is a dashboard, right? This is where it feels Toyota, right? Plastic piece right here. Lexus will never do that, and we'll confirm that. Speaker here. Now this is also hard touch material here. It's a good quality piece. It's just a hard touch. It kind of moves also a little bit. Speaker here, and then this is where you have your kind of Lexus-like material. Soft touch right here. Little bronze line here. This is another soft touch material, and then this area glove compartment is also plastic material, but it's a high quality material. And now coming in the center here, right, the Toyota Crown Signia looks pretty unique. Now this shifter is from Lexus. This is your rear view camera. This car has a 360, but this shifter is exactly from Lexus, including this centerpiece, right? It opens from both sides. And this also came directly from Lexus. Everything else, what I really like about this car is the fact that you have your climate control as buttons, right? Your heated and cooled seats button. Overall, everything you want to adjust is all this really nice little good to touch kind of buttons. And I really appreciate that Toyota didn't go Lexus like in its vehicle, even including your driving mode. This is a toggle switch that basically adjusts to sport, normal, eco, and even your custom mode, right? There's not much that really happens when you play around with these modes. It's a hybrid vehicles, including the metal paddle shifters, which also, again, kind of useless in my opinion in this vehicle. I wish they were like in Honda to give you regen instead of trying to shift the ECVT transmission. So overall, this is what the cabin looks like. Now this is what the seat is. Now the other car, like I said, has covered seats, so we're gonna look at the actual rear seats for the quality of the leather. But everything else, this is what it looks like. Now let's go ahead. Oh yeah, by the way, one more area I recently discovered in this car is right here. Listen to this. When I press against this, there's a lot of creaking noise, especially here. Like, what is this? I did not expect to see this in Toyota. And when I drive, very often this area rattles. By the way, this is your digital view meter. So I'm pretty disappointed. Now let's go ahead and touch this in Lexus as well and see if Lexus does stuff like this as well. All right, now I am into Lexus. And yes, closing the door definitely does feel more solid. And again, this is the material. This is the one that I said feels really nice, like a very soft material. Now let's look at the overall cabin, right? Let me go ahead and start the vehicle. Now it's a very similar leather wrap steering wheel. Now this car has just, fewer options, but otherwise you have more options when, let's say, you have a head-up display. And speaking of which, let's look at this dashboard, right? So this is a soft touch material, right? This is where Toyota and Lexus kind of depart, right? Lexus uses soft touch here, soft touch, but yeah, here it's a plastic, right? But this is more of a cover than the actual material, but nevertheless, if you don't have a head-up display, this is a hard plastic. So a bit surprised to see this, quite honestly. Now this is soft touch, this is your speaker, this is hard touch material right here. Yeah, just nicer than in Toyota. I think if Toyota used something like this, it felt more premium, I guess. But there you go, some hard plastic here. This is soft touch. This is very similar to what Crown Signia has. Little plasticky material. This is soft touch. And then your, obviously, glove compartment is hard plastic material as well. So yeah, it does feel slightly better. Especially like here in front of you. This is where the area Toyota chipped out, in my opinion, the most, I think, right? But otherwise, I think it looks fairly close, the Crown Signia fairly close to the Lexus. Now, this is the area where I think Lexus looks more elegant, in my opinion, right? Now, this is the same shifter that we have in the Crown Signia, the same kind of armrest that opens from both sides. So yeah, it's again covered as well here. But the thing I don't like about what Lexus is doing is this infotainment system, right? Is that climate controls are moved onto the screen, right? Well, I like that they still have the dials. You can quickly adjust the temperature and hit the auto button, which is nice. And then you can, of course, synchronize, or the other passenger can use their own dial to adjust the temperature. But nevertheless, this is the intensity. You have to use this toggle while driving. And the thing my dad said he doesn't like the most is the drive modes, right? You have to go here and check your, adjust your sport, eco, whatever custom drive modes all into the screen, right? And when you're driving, yes, you can get used to this, but why can't they just add a toggle switch here or a button here to adjust those settings? Otherwise, yes, the Lexus cabin does look more elegant. Now this one does not have a sunroof or panoramic roof. This is a car which actually is less expensive than the Crown Signia. This is below 50K MSRP, but nevertheless you get a lot of standard things in this car. And let's look at this area here, right? I complain about the Crown Signia. There's a little creaking here. And by the way, this feels softer. This is a different kind of material. This just feels a little nicer. Press more. Now overall, there's a little creaking, but not much. So this is not gonna rattle when you're driving. So this is definitely feels much better quality material here. All right guys, now let's look into the rear seat. And I am in the rear of Toyota Crown Signia. This is what it looks like sitting in the rear seat, right? And this is limited trim, so you have your moonroof open like this. This is a reinforced metal bar, which looks pretty cool. By the way, look at this digital rear view mirror. There is a Lexus right there. I think every car should have digital rear view mirror. By the way, this is the material, which is a little bit kind of hard. It's textured. So we'll see what this looks in the Lexus. I think it'll be soft touch. All right, now let's look at the rear door. This is kind of a soft, hard touch plastic. There's so many variations of this kind of plastic, but this does look like a good high quality, which should not scratch easily. This is similar to the front. You know, like Hondas and Toyotas, like RAV4, for example, this will be like a hard touch plastic versus the front will be a soft touch plastic. So they usually cheap out on the rear doors. Not the case with the Crown Signia. This is where you can put your bottle here. And this is a nice area also to close the door. And in fact, I have my phone right here. You can put your phone here as well, you know, and it just sits there nice. All right, let's look into other stuff. Now, one thing I like about the Crown Signia, they didn't chip out as well on these front seats, like the rear of the front seats. Like this is all soft touch materials. Usually a lot of automakers put hard plastic here, making it look cheap, and you can easily scratch it with your legs, or let's say kids can scratch this as well. Now this is your vent for climate control. By the way, in the front, you can disable the airflow to the rear passengers. And there's your two USB-Cs. So this is what it looks like. This is the armrest here for the rear passengers. This is soft and it's pretty comfortable to sit here. Now, I already mentioned, guys, in my other reviews, this is not particularly comfortable for taller people. I am 6'2". I am touching the roof line, but I have to scoop a little bit down and then I will feel comfortable. So it's not bad, and we already went to San Francisco area and I did drive a little bit in the rear seats, and it is really comfortable because of the suspension that we're gonna talk about. And overall, the headrest is comfortable and just sitting here feels comfortable. But if you are taller than 6'2", then I will say you will feel a little bit cramped, and maybe Lexus will be a better choice for you. Yeah, overall, the seats look very nice. They're soft. This headrest is really soft, feels really good for your head. And these seats are very comfortable overall. And this car comes standard with the heated seats, right? There's a button here for heated seats. All right, so this looks really nice. Now let's jump into Lexus RX 350. And now I'm in the rear of Lexus RX 350, right? Let's see what the cabin feels like from the rear here. This is what it feels like. Now this is your roofline material. Now this is a softer material. In Crown Signia, it's more like a textured kind of rough material compared to here. I highly recommend to have at least a sunroof or panoramic roof, because it's gonna make it look even more premium and elegant with the roof opening. Now this is what the rear door looks like. Now this is the same kind of soft plastic material. It's not exactly really soft plastic, but kind of in the middle. But you have more of this material in the Signia, where Lexus kind of starts with a soft plastic, soft touch materials, right? This is a Palomino bamboo leather material, and then this is a harder kind of plastic material, but it just feels nice as well. And overall, I think the door looks pretty elegant, and even more elegant in Lexus than Crown Signia. By the way, these front seats have seat covers, but let's reveal a little bit what the rear of the seat looks like, right? It's basically this kind of dark blue seat, and it's also soft touch, exactly what you expect in the Lexus. Now this is your kind of climate control in the rear. You have your USB-C ports for charging, and you can adjust your temperature in the rear of RX 350, which is really nice, but no standard heated or ventilated rear seats. You have to upgrade your package. All right, we're closing the door, and it definitely sounds and feels more solid. So what is it like sitting in the rear of the Lexus RX 350? Well, I can definitely tell you that I kind of jumped from sedan type platform to an SUV type of a platform. Meaning in the Crown Signia, those seats feel more relaxing and they kind of feel you sinking into them more. So I would say I would like to spend more hours in that vehicle. Where here, it's more upright. You feel like you're sitting in SUV and it's a more upright position. Still super comfortable. And in fact, some people might like this more because this gives you more back support. And it's really good for tall people. As you can see, you can be taller than me and fit perfectly fine here. Very good headrest as well. Really nice soft touch materials, plenty of leg room. Now RX 350 has 37.4 in the rear, where the Crown Signia has 37.1. Very minor difference, but it's there. Now let's see what this armrest looks like. You pull it and then there's a button to reveal the cup holders. Just feels a little more sophisticated, where Crown Signia feels more simple. But overall, yeah, it's very comfy and it's a nice place to spend time in this cabin. Now, what the seats look like, right? Let's close this. All right, this is just a bit more sophisticated. All right, I'll close it separately. Now, this is what the seats look like in the rear of the RX 350. They're kind of similar, a little bit softer, I would say. And they do feel like of a little higher quality, a little bit more premium quality. So yes, there is a difference. So you get with Lexus kind of same soft touch materials, just the higher quality materials, like a little bit softer, feel a little nicer to the touch. Now let's look at the trunk spaces of both of this vehicle. And for the trunk space, I decided to start with a Lexus RX 350, right? I'll show you why. So let's open this trunk and let's look at the spacious trunk area here. Now, Lexus says behind the second row, you will get 29.6 of cubic feet of space here. And we're actually gonna drop this seats as well, and you're gonna get 46.2 cubic feet. Now, this is your buttons to drop those seats, which I'm gonna do right now. In fact, they're automatic. Come on, drop. There you go. They're dropping right now. It's a lot of whining noises from the little motors. And then this is your 12-volt socket, just for things like a little vacuum. And then this is the cargo liner, kind of, you gotta believe, from Lexus. It even covers the rear seats as well. And then this is your first aid kit from Lexus. My Crown Signia does not have any kind of first aid kits. I have to buy one online. And yeah, it's pretty spacious overall cargo area here. Like I said, around 46.2 cubic feet of space. And this is your speaker right here. All right, now let's look into the Crown Signia. And now let's look at the trunk space in Toyota Crown Signia. I'm gonna open it. This is a little kind of loud whining motor sound, but it's pretty good overall. Now this is what it looks like. It's about 24.8 cubic feet of space. It's 5 feet cubic feet of space less than the Lexus RX 350, but this is what it looks like. By the way, all Crown Signias come standard with these all-weather kind of cargo mats. It says Toyota Crown, including basically these crossbars. I know a lot of you are asking where I install this. This is pre-installed in Japan and shipped directly from the factory. For those who don't know, this car is built only in Japan and shipped into the United States, where RX 350 is made in Canada mostly. Now, this is what it looks like here in the rear. Not much going on, no first aid kit. And basically you have this area underneath here. This car does not have spare. So there's a little area you can put your bar that comes right here. I actually removed it for the trip. And then obviously there is space for the spare tire that I can actually install. Otherwise there is a self-sealing kit there as well. But here's the magic happens with the station wagon, right? These are manual release handles. We're dropping this, we're releasing this and dropping that seat as well. And look at this. Now we have 68.8 cubic feet of space in here. This is more than 20 feet cubic space more than in the Lexus RX 350. And this is a very unique stuff here. These extensions make it even more straight to close these gaps. I'm just closing these gaps. And Toyota says you can lay down here a person as tall as 6 feet 5 inches tall. You can drop a mattress, and this car is ideal for camping trips as well, or you can load really like long stuff in here. So this is where station wagon wins compared to the crossover or SUV basically. And this is one of the reasons why we bought Toyota Crown Signia. Now let's go ahead and drive both of these cars. And now let's do a quick demo drive of both of these vehicles. I'm going to start with the Toyota Crown Signia just to see how they stack up one against the other. I already did dynamic drive review of both of these vehicles. Make sure to check those links in the descriptions. So we're starting with the Crown Signia. Guys, I am in desert hot springs. It's a little hot here and a bit windy as well. Now let's go ahead and floor it. All right, this is a hybrid vehicle, right? So this does 0 to 60 in about 7 seconds, 240 horsepower, 4-cylinder naturally aspirated 2.5 liter engine paired to 2 electric motors. I like about desert hot springs is that the speed limits are much higher here. You know, these are not heavily populated roads. And the first thing I kind of want to see is that what is the sound insulation in this vehicle, right? We're gonna go exactly 55. And this is not actually a good road here in terms of like, it's not very polished, it's a little old, but it's still gonna be a good test. So 55. It's about 69 decibels. So in the CD on my normal test drive, this was around 63, 64. This is much higher for sure in this video. So overall, what does it feel like driving Crown Signia, right? Now, it's kind of like more on sedan platform, but it's, if you think of it like a more rigid kind of sedan, right? Let's say Camry will feel lower to the ground and it'll feel a little bit more sensitive to the road, where this feels more rigid as it has more SUV-like components in its chassis. It's very, very well cushioned vehicle. I'll say that this feels more cushioned than the RX 350. RX 350 feels more kind of solid. It feels more, even more reinforced. And I'm gonna discuss that when I drive that vehicle. But this feels more relaxing, I'll say, slightly more relaxing. And this is what this station wagon is supposed to provide. But both of these vehicles are comfortable, right? We're talking about both comfortable vehicles, but there is a difference. And you absolutely have to rent both of these cars to experience this difference, because this feels lower. And like I said, it feels more like sedan than the SUV. Nevertheless, it's still a very solid and comfortable and slightly more cushioned vehicle. And if you're gonna prioritize a lot of long trips, long journeys, like camping and stuff, then you might want to consider this vehicle. Also, the part that, you know, you can a bit abuse this kind of car more, like drive it more and put more miles versus RX. You may not consider that because it's more city-like type of a vehicle. It costs more. Things are a little more expensive and obviously more upscale in that vehicle. All right, yes, so this is just very brief, and now let me go ahead and jump into the RX 350. And now driving Lexus RX 350. This is not exactly apple-to-apple comparison in terms of drivetrain, but the feel is about the same of RX 350h and RX 350 in terms of driving dynamics overall. All right, let's start this one. It has a nicer, obviously, sound because this is not ECVT. This is your conventional 8-speed automatic transmission with 2.4 liter turbo engine and 275 horsepower. Do you know what's really interesting? That this has 0 to 60 for front wheel drive, which this one is about 7.5, 7.6 seconds. For all wheel drive, it's about 7.2 seconds. The RX 350h is about 7.4 seconds. And you know what's really funny? That the Crown Signia has 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds flat. So on paper, Signia is faster than both of the RX vehicles, but is it really? I mean, you can't really tell. This definitely feels more premium. The RX 350 feels more premium, and I'll explain in just a moment. Let's do first quick sound insulation test. So I'm at 55. Wow, it's about 66. So it's on this kind of rough road, this feels more quiet for sure, and that's pretty amazing. It definitely feels more quiet. It feels more kind of like a better sound deadening materials in here. So certainly, even though Crown Signia has good sound deadening materials, acoustic glass, but this is better. This is definitely more elevated experience. Now the other part, you are sitting in the SUV platform, so you are sitting more upright, as much taller position, and a lot of people will prefer this because this feels like a proper traditional SUV. Also, Lexus uses more sophisticated suspension. They use 3 types of suspensions, and this one, make sure to watch the video where I talk about all the trims. This has something called twisted valve shock absorbers, meaning at lower speeds it adjusts for more comfort, at higher speeds it adjusts for more speed and better stability. What is the end result? How does it feel to drive, right? It feels more rigid. First of all, this does feel like it's an SUV platform, which feels more solid, right? Feels heavier, more solid, even though this particular car is a front-wheel drive and it's slightly lighter. It's almost 100 pounds lighter than the Crown Signia, or not 100, less than 100 pounds. The all-wheel drive is slightly heavier than Crown Signia, but the feels heavier overall than the Crown Signia. And it feels more sophisticated. This damping, it's like you have this good mixture of comfort and kind of sporty ride, I would say. It feels more athletic than Crown Signia. Signia feels more like just a relaxing cruiser, that station wagon you just want to take for long journeys. This feels more fun. Like this new platform of RX generation definitely added the fun factor to its chassis. And I've driven them on twisty roads, and I said that this is a really nice, stable machine compared to the older generation RX, which were wobbly and very boring to drive. So yes, guys, it's definitely more elevated experience. And while we personally bought that car for long trips, for like driving to national parks, this is a more preferable, more premium type of a vehicle for sure. So there you have it, guys. I just finished reviewing both of these vehicles, Toyota Crown Signia and Lexus RX 350. Interior quality and a quick demo drive. And what I must say is that you guys buying any of these vehicles will certainly enjoy the quality of the interior and overall driving experience. With Lexus RX 350 certainly having more elevated experience overall, yes, you definitely have more upgraded materials in terms of the interior quality, more soft touch materials, and even the soft touch feels more of the premium quality. And driving dynamics, guys, in this car is more fun. Like I said, this new generation of RX trims feels more fun. It has more sophisticated suspension. Even in this base RX trim, it's not electronically adaptive suspension, but it still has more sophistication, giving it more athletic ride while still providing this really nice, comfortable ride. And the Crown Signia, guys, is a really unique proposition here in the United States, where Toyota reviving the station wagon again. And by buying this, you're pretty much getting a really comfortable ride. It's, yes, not as sophisticated as the RX 350, but it is certainly kind of elevated, very well cushioned, and it's very roomy and comfortable inside. So this is a nice proposition. Yes, maybe a little bit polarizing in terms of the looks, but it makes it unique that same way. And our choice landed on the Crown Signia, and that's because of our specific purpose, being able to take this on long journeys and enjoying just coasting, on our trips. So let me know what you guys think. Do you have any of these vehicles? Are you considering buying any one of them? And if you have any comments, let me know. I'm gonna leave a link in the description for both of dynamic drive review of this vehicle and where I discuss all the RX trims in another video. And I'll catch you later.